has, in the light, placed a chair for me, and I notice that in the moment that I walk out, and I walk out and say, "Hi, my name's Tim Mooney, and I'm going to do my monologue from Tartuffe." Oh. Because one loves the glories of the Lord does not suggest his works ought be ignored. How's my monologue going now? No. Why are you shaking your head? I'm not being seen. How am I not being seen? But I hear one of my responsibilities is being realistic, right? So I want to make contact with my fellow actor, right? Cheating out. So, like so? Turn the chair a little bit so that they can see this actor better? Does that help? Because one loves the glories of the Lord. So I'm playing with you here, of course. Because we all get why we need to be seen during an audition, right? Why am I here at the audition? To get cast. Why do I want to get cast? To get paid. And in order for me to get paid, people have to see me. Now, I refer to this as 100% of available information. When I stand before you like this, you're getting everything I have to offer you. Now, when I turn this way, what percent of information do you think you're getting now? Shout it out. 50? How about some of you back over there? What would you say? 0. I would say even somebody who's perfectly parallel to me or perpendicular to me here, that's not even 50. I would say you're getting about 25%. Because this whole part of my head is not expressive. Everything that's, aside from the general inclination of the head, that's all I can use to express with, unless I can wiggle my ears, perhaps. But everything is from here forward. That's the gold, all right? So you're getting from here, you're getting not 50%, but maybe 25%. And back there, 10, 5, 0. So this is 100% of available information. The directors, if they're going to cast you, they want as much information as they can get. The audience, so the directors, remember, are where the money is. They want to cast you and pay you. The audience has also paid money to come in and see you. That's now where the money is when the show is on. So, the muscles surrounding your eyes and the muscles surrounding your mouth are the most nuanced, detailed, expressive muscles in your entire being. The audience is dying to see that. More often than not, actors are trying to retain it, to hold on to it, to avoid giving that. And there's a reason. And let me take you through the logic of that reason. So we can, is Jack still there? Oh, we can bring lights back up to full. I just needed it for that moment. Let's say I'm Hamlet, and here is Horatio. We've been in rehearsal together for 6 weeks at least. I know what he's going to say. He knows what I'm going to say. I'm wearing a costume. He's wearing a costume. If I get angry at him and take a swing, he knows to duck. If he gets angry at me and takes a swing, I know to dodge. When he stops speaking, I start speaking. We are in agreement about who we are and why we're here. When I look into his eyes, I see Horatio. He looks into my eyes, I see Hamlet. It helps me to be Hamlet when I look at someone whose career is dependent upon me being Hamlet. Ditto for him. He Hamletizes me, I Horatiate him. Now, when I turn this way, who am I seeing? The audience. Who are some of the individuals who might be out in the audience? Shout them out. Parents. Friends. Strangers. What? Spouses. Critics. Somebody with a notepad writing things about how Hamlet I am. Who else? Somebody said friends before. The opposite of that would be enemies. Then there's, here's one. This everyone understands this. The actor who was also up for the role that I got. Ooh. So when I look this way, agreement. This way is judgment. I hate judgment, and therefore I will come up with every possible argument with the director to inform him or her that what's believable is eye contact. Actors love eye contact more than human beings love eye contact. I like saying it that way because that's those two concentric circles do not connect. Actors do not fit into human being. We hate eye contact in real life. We love it on stage. You ever get into a situation where someone gets eye contact with you and they won't let go, and they just stare at you, and they don't look the other way, and you kind of have to look back at them because you don't want to be rude, but they're looking at you, and you're wondering what they're wanting, or what relationship do you think we're in anyway here? And so you get uncomfortable, maybe your palms start to sweat, you start to breathe shallowly, and you're just waiting for somebody to look the other way before you can take a deep breath. Did you take a deep breath just then when I looked away? No? Okay. Quite often they do. We hate eye contact in real life. We love it on stage. Let me do 4 test questions. Let's see. Of the 4 of you in row number 4 there. Sir, what did you have for breakfast this morning? Oatmeal. What did you wear yesterday? Okay. What does your boyfriend look like?
I have a girlfriend. She has blonde hair, got shoulder length, blue eyes. She's really cute.
Awesome. And what are you planning to do tomorrow? Okay. This is really hard for me because I'm not wearing my glasses. So you looked away as you said what you had for breakfast. You looked away before you could answer. What did I ask you? What you had? What are you wearing yesterday? You seem to maintain eye contact throughout, and you seem to as well. But I can't see what your eyes were doing in that moment from this distance. This is the first time. This is the first post-COVID version of this workshop. So automatically, when we think of things, we look away. When we try to remember what happened in the past, or when we try to project what's happening in the future, we look away to an abstract space where we can project in our mind onto that neutral space the thing that I'm trying to remember or that I'm thinking about what's happening next. So eye contact is like immediate here and now emotional connection, but for memory purposes or for imagination purposes, we need neutrality in order to generate that. Does that make sense? So that's how eye contact works in real life. But actors will insist that they need to make eye contact because it gives them that agreement that they need. The strongest actors that I know are the ones who can stand downstage center, present for the audience, with the rest of the cast like in a semicircle upstage of him or her, and be comfortable talking to them while looking at the audience. That actor I will cast each and every time because I know that the audience is going to get the show. When I stand like this, you can follow every little nuance of emotion that might flash across my face. But if I feel the need to talk to somebody up here, suddenly you're prioritizing your own emotional through line over the audience's ability to follow the story. Okay, that's all I had on that, I think. Let me just remind myself of what's next. Okay. Who can tell me the difference between an aside and a soliloquy? Just put a hand up if you think you got it. What's the difference between a soliloquy and an aside? Yes, sir.
Aside is usually a short line towards the audience, or sometimes breaking into a form. And then soliloquies are like long, drawn-out monologues.
You're correct about the fact that that's what it usually is, but that's not the distinction between the two. Let's figure out what the distinction is. Anybody? You're close, but still not in the distinction. You're close when you say you're talking to yourself, but that's not 100% true. Anybody else think they got it? What word seems to be inside the word soliloquy? Solo. Soliloquy, you're alone. That's what marks it. You're alone and you're speaking. That's what marks a soliloquy. A soliloquy could be very short. But you're alone, you're speaking, it's a soliloquy. You might be talking to yourself, could be talking to God, could be talking to the audience. All of those are also possible. An aside creates it demands a theatrical convention whereby we suspend the laws of physics, whereby we assume that even though this person right here is only 3 feet away from me, my voice avoids his ears completely, even as it reaches everyone else in the theater. That's the assumption we make for an aside. How do you know that you're supposed to deliver a line as an aside? Anybody? This is one of those participatory workshops. Yeah. The other character doesn't react to what you just said. Yes, there's something even more evident than that, but that's a really good answer. Yes. In the script, in parentheses, it will say aside. So it's really obvious that way. But now let me take that one step further. How did that word aside get into the script? Who put it there? Who's talking? I can't see mouths moving, so if you can just wave at me, that would help. The playwright would be a good answer, but in this case, I want you to assume that Shakespeare, having to copy out the entire play by hand, didn't put the word aside there. As you look at the book that you're holding, somehow the word aside got there. Who do you think put it there? Maybe some directors at some point scrawled that in there, but in the modern edition of the book that you're holding, who put it there? Not the author. Someone who had revised it. You're extremely close. Let's go with that, and I'm just going to say the editor or the publisher is responsible for the word aside getting in there. How did the editor or the publisher know that the word aside needed to be in there? That would be possible, but let's say the editor and the publisher didn't have a time to go attend the play. What? A prompt book? Let's say it's one of my versions of the plays of Molière, and it's brand new, so they didn't have the script available to them. But when I went to work on it, I had scripts that did have that word in there. How did the editor or the publisher know to put that word in there? Let's go back to your answer previously. What did you tell me when I first asked this series of questions? You had the answer, you just gave it too early. The other character doesn't respond to what you said. So, the editor, publisher is working on laying out the play for publication. And the editor, reading this, realizes, oh, character A said this, character B doesn't say anything back. Knowing the characters as well as I've been studying them, if character B had heard that, he would have gone through the freaking roof. Character B does not go through the freaking roof, therefore that line must have been intended to be an aside. Okay, I've been working you through the logic of this very carefully so that I could come to my big statement about this. And it's like a triple negative, so I'm going to say it twice just to make sure you've got it. Just because some editor somewhere does not put the word aside into the script does not mean that that line is not intended to be delivered to the audience. Just because some editor or publisher somewhere does not put the word aside into the script does not mean that that line is not intended to be delivered to the audience. Now, I refer to the aside as the tip of the iceberg. How much of an iceberg can you actually see as you approach it? How much of an iceberg is like over the water? 5 to 10%, good guess. Which means that 90% of it is below the water. This tip of the iceberg of the aside is supported by 90% of the universe of actors being present for an audience. The aside is just something that manifests itself in a really strange way that we have to look at. That's got to be to the audience. But there is 90% of that. There's 10 times as much down below that is really intended to be present with the audience. This is most noticeable, I think, when you look at, if you're familiar with the character of Hamlet, he has all kinds of instances where he is talking about the general public, the world at large, individual. What a piece of work is a man. How noble in reason, how infinite in something or other, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god. See how that's he's talking to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern when he says that, I think, but how much more sense it makes when he has individuals at his fingertips to regard. There's like 5 of these in Hamlet. There's another one What a piece of work is a man. No, I did that one already. Anyway, you get the idea. The one that pays it off at the end is when Hamlet is dying, and he says, "You that look pale and tremble at this chance, that are but mutes or audience to this act. Had I but time, as this fell sergeant Death is strict in his arrest, oh, I could tell thee, but let it be." So he's been talking to the audience repeatedly through the course of Hamlet, but it never says that because it's not an aside per se, so the editor doesn't put that in there. But you will notice how your characters come alive. You will notice audience sitting a little more forward when they are put into the scene along with everyone else. That was natural to the Elizabethan performer. To them, that was believable, even though we might not think of it as being realistic. All right, let me just see if I'm caught up to the point I need to be at to go to our next thing. Yes, so we have somewhere out there are two people who have volunteered themselves for the scene from The Misanthrope. Can I get those two people up on stage with me? And this is a scene between Celiman and Arsinoe, and for your sake, I'm going to cover up a little bit here. I've got the seam on the wrong side. There's Hamlet. Okay. Let's just do a quick bit of casting. You are Celiman, you are Arsinoe. Arsinoe speaks first, Celiman speaks second. Now you've got a long speech there for both of you, and let me just give you a little background. First of all, these two characters, Arsinoe, maybe a little older, a little bit uptight, if I might use the expression, kind of a tight ass. Stern, judgmental, pious. Yeah, that gives you enough. Over here we've got Celiman, younger, playful, kind of a party girl. If I can put it in the nicest way I can would be to say has a lot of boyfriends. Okay. The two of them are kind of interested in the same guy. Though they don't talk about that at all during the course of this scene. She's interested in one of her boyfriends, who is Alceste. I often play Alceste, or I have at least twice before. It's a fun role. But she would kind of like to pry Alceste away from her given the opportunity. And so she's got this strategy whereby she's going to pretend to be Celiman's best friend and tell her about all the things that people have been saying about her behind her back. And then she's going to get a little carried away and kind of pile on a little bit because she's so judgmental as she is, but she's doing it under the guise of being her best friend. Celiman takes all this in and is grateful for the advice, but flips it back on her and proceeds to tell her, just as a friend would, about all the nasty shit people have been saying about her behind her back. And then she piles on even more. So we're going to do this scene twice. And the first time around, we're just going to take the opening of it just to get a feel for how two modern performers instinctively play the scene. So we're going to take it from Madame, the best friend's one who gives support, through upstanding folk when topic turned to you. And then we're going to skip the rest of her speech. We're going to go to you, oh, madam, I could not miss your intent, through by telling of what people say of you. Okay. And so I'm not going to give them any direction about how they ought to be doing this. We're just going to see how it goes and notice what they're doing and notice how you are reacting to what they're doing just for the sake of noticing a difference later on. Ready? Go for it, Arsenaway.
Madame, the best friend's one who gives support in matters of the weightiest import, and we both know there's no subordination to matters which might touch our reputation. As such, I've hurried here upon a mission to tell a talk last night with just a few upstanding folk when topic turned to you.
Oh, madame, I could not miss your intent, and I instinctively knew what you meant. Oh, this information gives such inspiration. I am reminded of your reputation, and think I might repay you your due by telling of what people say to you.
Whoops. That's applaud. I just realized as I did that I was applauding into my microphone. So, actually, and speaking of microphones, let's pull this action a little more in front of that microphone, just so that we can pick it up for the folks back home. Now, so that was great. But I'm going to give you a scenario where it's going to be an exercise. And the name. Once I give you the name of the exercise, you may get an impression of how this is going to play. This next time, we're going to go through your entire speech and play it all the way through. The name of this scenario is The Jerry Springer Show. Have either of you seen The Jerry Springer Show at any point?
No.
Do you have any impression of what he's like? No, okay. All right. The Jerry Springer Show is presented in front of an audience. And two people who have an issue, like two women after the same man, will argue it out. And so, in the course of that, the person who wins the argument on the Jerry Springer Show is not the person with the most logical, thought-through, intelligent, balanced, rational argument. The person who wins the argument on the Jerry Springer Show is the one who can best work the audience into a frenzy on their behalf as they attack their opponent. So your objective is to rally the audience on your side. So we go from what had been a one-on-one to trying to work it to a 100-on-1. So rally them to your side and you guys are the audience at the Jerry Springer Show. Does anybody know do you know what their behavior is like? Tell us about their behavior.
They go ham. They really, whoever they think they're the most sympathetic for, they're like, yes, they're correct.
Yes. They like to boo too. And they will turn on a dime. They'll start out, everybody will be on her side, and then she starts talking, and they're like, oh yeah, she's right. They'll turn it around. So what I want you to do is, I realize we've only got about 20, 30 people scattered through this entire auditorium, but I want you to make enough noise for the 6 or 8 seats surrounding you that are not filled, so that they can feel the audience on their side. So you can boo and hiss, or you can say, yeah, you go girl, you go, whatever it is, shout it out, let them hear you, okay? So you guys, your objective is to work the audience. You're working to win them over to your cause, all right? Now, and you're trying to win, okay? At the end of this, we're going to declare a winner. I'm going to say, who won this argument? And then vote with your applause, and some will applaud for her. Who won this argument? Vote with your applause. Some will vote for her, and we'll decide who wins. So it's gone back and forth. I'm not going to say any more about who might win, but we'll decide that when the moment arrives. I'm just trying to think. Oh, well, okay. How do we warm up the audience at the Jerry Springer Show? Anybody know? They chant something. What do they chant? Jerry, 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 go Arsenaway!
But yeah, the best friend matters of the weightiest import. And we both know there's no subordination to matters which might touch our reputation.
Yeah!
As such, I've hurried here upon a mission to tell of talk which threatens your position.
Oh, what do they say?
I had a talk last night with just a few upstanding folk when topic turned to you.
Ooh.
And though you know, I instantly defended. I fear
Right.
your actions were not well commended.
Ooh.
The looseness of your ways and the parade of men who
That
visit
bitch.
you weren't well portrayed. Your coquetry, I fear's notorious, and they spoke in a tone censorious.
Ooh, what did they say? What did they say?
I was
What did they say?
astounded at this sharp attack, and in your fair defense, I did not lack. I spoke of your good spirit, and I mentioned you have the finest of intentions, and yet some things I couldn't quite gainsay with issues that I can't explain away.
Ooh.
And ultimately, I made the confession that your behavior gives the wrong impression.
Okay, time out a second. Time out a second. You're giving about 90% of it to her. Try to flip that.
Okay.
You're doing great in terms of getting your face off of that page and looking up and around, but you're working these people a lot more than you're working her.
Okay.
Okay, keep at it.
And that your actions may well be the source of gossip and conjecture rather coarse.
Oh!
And that you would be so oft mistook if you took greater care for how things look.
Ooh!
It's not that I'm suggesting you're to blame for deeds the like which we mustn't name.
Ooh.
But people's minds do tend that way to go, and we mustn't guard against vice's slightest show. I know my purity of purpose, intending only to do you great service. I share these thoughts to my dearest friend, and have in mind no other hoped for end.
Oh, madame. I could not miss your intent, and I instinctively knew what you meant. This information gives such inspiration, I am reminded of your reputation.
Oh! You go, girl!
And think that I might repay you your due by telling of what people say of you. I'll follow the example that you've set, reporting of the good folk that I've met. I stopped the other day at a soiree, and there some people tasting the buffet had launched a conversation that regarded where pious folk from piety had parted. Alas,
Okay, time out a second.
Savor.
Time out a second. I'm sorry, my mic may have gone off. There we are. You're doing the opposite from what she did, in that you're really available to us physically, but you are looking down at the paper quite a lot. So if you can get your eyes off of the paper into our eyes, 100% better.
Got it.
Okay.
Was not regarded with all such favor, most notably the twisted way you measure the nature of one's inoffensive pleasure. Why does, they asked. She keeps this pious show when everything she does believes it so. She says her prayers as much as would a nun. She cheats her maid with wages they have won. She shows her piety all through the parish, and yet she paints her face all thick and garish. On naked statues she would place her ban, and yet she wouldn't mind a naked man. Oh, of course, I told them they were being victorious, and that your nature wasn't that malicious, but still I couldn't shake their conviction. They suggested I make interdiction. I tell you to leave off their moral health and rather worry more about yourself. I know you know my purity of purpose, intending only to do you great service. I share these thoughts to help my dearest friend and have in mind no other hopes for end.
All right, hang on. I turned my microphone off. There we are. So, who won this argument? Vote with your applause. We're going to go that way. Now, 4 times out of 5, Solomon wins this argument. I've done this exercise a couple hundred times. Part of the reason she wins, so there's a couple of reasons. One is she goes second. And she takes her argument and turns it on its head. So we're aware of her making these decisions in the moment and being much cleverer than she is. So you had the odds against you from the outset. But it was very well done. There's a couple of areas that you can work on your cold reading a little bit, because I think you were doing a little rewriting as you went at the same time. But now, so we're kind of more or less in agreement that she won this argument. Now, comparing the first time you saw that little chunk of this scene and the second time in which they were playing it as the Jerry Springer Show, which version of this scene seemed more believable to you? Answer by putting up 1 finger for the first time, 2 fingers for the second time. So I'm looking around and seeing, hang on, keep it up. I'm seeing all 2 fingers. Was there anybody with 1 finger that wants to be recognized? Okay. Everybody put up 2 fingers to indicate that the second time was more believable than the first. So what I want you to realize is this. The second time, I gave them a theatrical convention that included the audience, and yet it was more believable. So here's what I want you to know. Realism is not equal to believability. The two actually have nothing to do with each other. Realism is a style in which we pretend that an audience is not really there. That has nothing to do with believability. In fact, it kind of runs counter to believability, because the performers are ignoring an actual situation that we all know to be true. So I hope that blows your mind a little bit about just what you mean when you're telling someone, well, that's not very realistic, is it? Because you think you're saying that's not believable. But what you're really saying is, I approve of realism, and I'm equating that with believability. Okay? So very good. Thank you very much. Let's give them a hand. Okay. Now, I realized as that was going on that there was one little piece that I left out of what I had meant to say about asides and soliloquies, which is that, and because what I try to do is try to find, oh, I'm alone, is to try to find an equivalent, a modern equivalent to stuff that happens in style. Okay, so our modern equivalent of that scene was the Jerry Springer Show. You guys also have modern equivalents of asides that you do all the time. Probably have no idea that it could be considered an aside. But most of you have one of these devices that you carry around with you everywhere you go. And quite often, you may find yourself in a scene where you're in a conversation with someone on the other end of this line, someone you don't want to be in a conversation with. And they're going on and on and on. And while that's going on, your best friend enters the room. You would much rather be in a conversation with your best friend. So you're trying to get rid of this guy. And so that conversation might go something like, okay, great, well then I'll catch you this afternoon when, let's say 2 o'clock will be fine. 2:30? 2:30, even better. All right, we'll see you then, and yeah. He goes on and on. Yeah, I hate this guy. Yeah, he's such an asshole. Oh, right. That's an aside, right? We're in a conversation with somebody here on stage with us. We'd rather be in a conversation with our best friend. The audience is your best friend. You want to have that conversation with them. The audience, even if you're the villain, the audience is your best friend. And you want to engage them as much as you can. So we do asides all the time, and we do stylized performance all the time. We just don't usually know that that's what we're doing. Okay, so I want to talk for a second. I'm doing this in a weird order. No, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go to being heard. Okay, and I'm gonna come back for a different exercise with bourgeois gentlemen in a little while. But for being heard, hang on a sec. Okay, language has its source in emotional impulse, sometimes physical impulse. Help me out with this. Let's say you accidentally put your hand on a hot stove. What is the sound that comes out of your mouth? Almost always, it's some form of that ow. Your face, your mouth will take that shape of ow. Let's say you are watching a fireworks display and a beautiful combination of blue, green, purple, gold, silver, glittery firework goes off. You as a group will instinctively go, and a moment later you will then go, always in that order. One being amazement, the other being appreciation. Let's say a little 6-year-old boy on Mother's Day digs around in the garden, picks up some flowers, and goes to his mother and says, "Here, Mommy, I picked these for you because it's Mother's Day, and I wanted to tell you how much I love you." These are instinctive noises that we make as human beings. They're like a bark is to a dog, like a meow is to a cat. There is some combination of the tension and release of various muscles in your vocal apparatus that gives way to that ow, or ooh, or ah, or oh. That's just natural and instinctive. And I suspect that the cavemen and cavewomen did it way back when as well. And I suspect that that was the fundamental beginning stepping stone of what became language. Because we take those vowels and then we start to put consonants at the beginning and consonants at the end. And we shape words, and then we divide nouns from verbs, and then we add all sorts of things to make sentences and paragraphs and novels and the works of Shakespeare. But it fundamentally lives in a space of emotional action. Now, you're all holding the Hamlet piece, I believe, if you want to get that out. Shakespeare understood that physiological connection to emotion, I believe, better than any playwright before or since. And Shakespeare wrote words, he like reverse engineered the character's emotional life by providing you with words that would stimulate that. And so the further you can throw yourself into shaping those words, to working the muscles that are in the mouth, the more you will support the emotional expression of the character. So we're going to take this Shakespeare piece, and this Hamlet monologue, soliloquy actually, and we're going to speak it communally as a group. from wherever you are in the auditorium. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to stand up as we do this, because you can never really support that oxygen supply the way you need to from a seated position. So I'm going to ask you to stand up, and we're going to deliver this as a group. Now, some of you will deliver it faster, some of you will deliver it slower, some of you will be more emotional about it, less emotional about it, whatever it is. This first time is really just to get our feet wet a little bit. Before we, like with the misanthrope scene that we just did, we'll double back and do it with some direction as well. So if you would now, please stand up. And, you only need to know 5 plot points to understand this monologue. 1, Hamlet's father has died. 2, Hamlet's father has died under very suspicious circumstances. 3, Hamlet's father's brother has married his mother, the widow of the king. And 4, what was 4? They did so. I've mixed 2 of these together, but 4, they married in a very swift manner following the death of Hamlet's father. Okay, so there's 5 points in there, and I've combined a couple of them. They'll come back to me as I get used to this. But so with that, I want you to take in a deep breath, and as well as you know how to deliver this speech, let it go. So take a deep breath, and that this too solid flesh would melt. Self-slaughter. Oh God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on't, fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this, but 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this, Hyperion to a satyr. So loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember. Why, she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet within a month, let me not think on't, frailty, thy name is woman. A little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe all tears. Why she, even she, oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. Oh, most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity 2 incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. Okay, I off there just so that I wouldn't blow you out of your seats. Now, I want you to take a moment before we move on to the next stage of this to just check in with yourself and notice what you might be feeling right now before I start layering things in on this process. So just notice, just quietly scan through your being, notice your mood, your general interest level, curiosity, boredom, excitement, anger. Notice your breath. How deeply are you breathing? Notice your sweat glands. Are they doing anything? Notice your general nervousness or insecurity. Notice notice how conscious you are of the hairs on top of your head, the follicles attaching your hair to your skull. Notice how much you're aware of in yourself. Take 5 seconds in silence just to do a quick scan. Okay. So I did that so that you'll then notice later on what might be different. Because what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through a series of exercises around this speech that is going to throw you into it further and further. And I want to see if the process of doing that conjures emotions that may be appropriate to Hamlet. Did you get you just got here, right? Do we have an extra copy of the Hamlet speech for this gentleman right here? So what we're going to do now is, I need to refer to this for a second. We're going to double back, but this time we're going to start with that first asterisk where it says, "So excellent a king that was to this." And now I need to remember what we did with it. Okay, I remember now. It's a 3-part process. So, above me in the grid here, variously, are some lights, all right? As you speak this speech, I want you to put your focus on rattling the lights. Use your voice to make those lights vibrate. Now, we forget that the voice can make an impact on the physical universe. It's easy to forget the voice is invisible. We don't think of it as having an impact on the physical universe. But here, I'm going to do a demonstration to show you this, and this is going to be a little weird with masks on, so you're going to have to overdo it a lot. I want you to make, let's say, 5 seconds of noise with the piece of paper lightly held in front of your mouth. Okay? As much as what I want you to do is to vibrate this piece of paper with your mouth, just using your voice, making noise for 5 seconds. Ready? And did you feel the paper vibrating your fingertips? Yes? Voices have power in the physical universe. In fact, the way we know they have power in the physical universe is because you are heard. Your voice vibrates my eardrum, and that's how I hear you, okay? So now, take that focus and put it on those lights ahead of me, and I want you to imagine that Jack, in his infinite distraction, did not quite ratchet those lights down in place quite as much as he probably should have. And that you have the power to shake them loose to the extent that they come crashing to the ground. I'll be sure to avoid standing underneath any one of them. But I want you to imagine that you have that power. That's your greatest task now, is to imagine that you really could make that happen. The same way that an opera singer can make a glass shatter by the power of her voice. Okay? So, number 1, rattle the lights. Say it with me. What are you going to do?
Rattle the light.
What?
Rattle the light.
What?
Rattle the light.
Excellent. Start with, so excellent a king that was to this, on through to the end, and go! To this, Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember, why she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet within a month, let me not think on't, frailty, thy name is woman. A little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe all tears. Why she, even she, oh God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. Oh, most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity 2 incestuous sheets, It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. That was awesome. Whoops. That was awesome. Thank you. Now, that's step one. We're always going to come back to step one, and then we're going to add step 2 and 3 on top of it. So number 1 is always going to be what?
Rattle the line.
What?
Rattle the line.
Very good. Step 2. This is going to be so weird with masks on. Step 2, I want you to over-articulate all of the consonants to such a degree that in the process of speaking, you will be making ugly faces. I want you to make faces that are so ugly that we can see how ugly they are behind your mask. But this is all in the service of the consonants and the vowels, especially the consonants. I want you to over-articulate consonants that are at the start of the words, in the middle of the words, and at the ends of the words. All of them. Overdo it way beyond any way you would ever naturally do it. This time, we're going to start from the second asterisk, which kicks us in with a little month or ere those shoes were old. So we're going to start there. Number 1, we're going to do what?
Rattle the line.
Number 2, make ugly faces. Taking a deep breath, and here we go. A little month or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe, all tears. Why she, even she, uglier! You and anyone nearby. So let's scatter all the way to the back wall, all the way to the front, just all over the auditorium. You really need to do this safely. Just get, if you're too close, even here, you're too close. So somebody go way back. Let's get 3 or 4 people against the back wall, and then scatter more. Farther apart. Now, you guys, there's a clump of 3 of you, like too close to each other. Somebody go back to the back. Okay? Good. Because I'll explain what this next phase of the exercise is, and you get to decide how much distance you think you're going to need. Because there's one area in which you've been holding back in the course of what we've been doing with rattling the lights and making ugly faces. We naturally hold back in this area because as we speak, what's happening is that you're holding tension in your lower lip, your jaw, your cheeks, your tongue, your soft palate. Because as you speak, there's gathering little rivulets of saliva that are puddling up in the base of your mouth, and you are struggling to hold them in because for your entire life you have been taught that it is not nice to spit. Now, you're protected to a certain degree with the mask on, but some of this is probably going to penetrate. So you got to decide for yourself how much space you need to do this exercise, because my goal for you is to let it go, let it fly. And the best Shakespearean actors are ones that will probably spray the first 2 rows of the audience with their saliva during the course of their performance. Now, of course, we know now that it's currently not safe, but when this pandemic is finally over, we will want to do that again. So, get yourself some space, and let's go through number 1. What are you going to do? Number 2, make ugly faces. Number 3, spit. Now, this time we're going to start from asterisk number 3. Oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer. You can tell already this is going to generate some saliva, all right? Taking a deep breath and go! Oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes. She married. Oh, most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. Excellent, excellent. Now, usually how we do this exercise when we're not wearing masks is I would always instruct everybody to hold a piece of paper about 6 inches from your mouth, and so that everything goes onto the piece of paper. At the end of the exercise, you can feel the piece of paper. If you did this exercise properly, it would be wet. Now, we're going to take, those are our 3 components of speech. Rattle the lights, which is project. Make ugly faces, which is articulate. And did I turn my microphone off? Did I do that? Can't tell. Oh, yeah, I had it off. You can hear me anyway, I get it. But I just know that people at home are listening. And number 3, spit, which is release whatever emotional parameters you're setting around yourself. Be free. Liberate your emotions. So, and liberate whatever wants to come out of you in that moment. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to that asterisk number 4, which starts, oh, most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. And we're just going to focus on that one sentence. And we're going to do that one sentence 5 times. And with each successive time through, I want it to get rattlinger, uglier, and wetter. So I want you to build to putting out as much as you can into the space. And I'm going to call it out as we go. Number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to remind you of some of the components of what we're doing in between each time through, just to encourage you to go a little farther and a little farther. So the line is, oh, most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. Take in a deep breath, and number 1. No, I'm sorry. I wasn't asking for a list. We can go through the list again. Okay, number 1 is going to be? Number 2? Number 3? And first time through, take that line and go! Oh, wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. Rattle the lights, go! Number 2. Oh, wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. Uglier, number 3. Oh, wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. Spit more, number 4. Oh, wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. great. Now, we're going to shrink it down one final time. We're going to shrink it down to just 2 words. Who can guess which 2 words we're going for? Incestuous sheets. The 2 most beautiful words in all of Shakespeare. Not for what they describe, but for how the action of the speaking of those 2 words is bringing out everything that Hamlet has been feeling up to this point. The rest of the speech was tap dancing. Finally, he says what is on his mind. It's something that's really, really ugly, and he expresses it with words that are going to wrap his face into a pretzel. Take those 2 words, and we'll do them 10 times. Rattling the lights, making ugly faces, and spitting. I'll count it out as we go. Remember to throw yourself into it just a little farther with each new time. And the 2 words are incestuous sheets. Number 1, and go!
Incestuous sheets.
Number 2.
Incestuous sheets.
3.
Incestuous sheets.
4 more.
Incestuous sheets.
5, uglier.
Incestuous sheets.
6, spit more.
Incestuous sheets.
7.
Incestuous sheets.
Rattle the lights.
Incestuous sheets.
9.
Incestuous sheets.
Last chance.
Incestuous sheets.
Okay, now silence everyone. And I want you to do what we did at the beginning of this exercise, which is to send your scanner back through your body and your mind and your emotions and to notice how you feel now. Are you angry, upset, whatever's going on for you, notice it. And how are you breathing? What's your blood pressure like? Are you conscious of the follicles of hair on top of your head? Notice what's different. And I'm going to do this just one more time. Take those 2 words, incestuous sheets, 3 times, and I'm going to remind you of your plot points. Dad is dead. He died under suspicious circumstances. Mom has remarried in an extremely short period of time, and the person she's remarried to is Dad's brother, your uncle. 3 times through incestuous sheets, and number 1.
Incestuous sheets.
Number 2.
Incestuous sheets.
Number 3.
Incestuous sheets.
Excellent. Now, give me some feedback. Tell me what you're feeling now that you weren't feeling at the start of this exercise. What's it? Pissed off.
My heart is beating really fast.
Your heart is beating really fast. Excellent. What else? Anxiety kicked in. Okay, good.
My hands are very sweaty.
Your hands are very sweaty. Excellent.
I feel more confident.
More confident. Good.
My eyes kind of hurt.
Your eyes hurt. Wow. Anything up over there? No? Over here? You feel the energy in your body. Sir? Breathing harder. Anything over here? Yes? Your throat hurts, okay. Hopefully that's not, we'll control that at a later episode. Good. Okay, come on back. Find your original seats. All is forgiven. So, I just want you to notice what the words did to your emotional life. What we did was we took the components of speech and cranked the dial up to 11. One was projection. We cranked that up to 11. Another was articulation. We cranked that up to 11. Third was freedom of expression. We cranked that up to 11. And you felt something. So we tend to think of ourselves as shaping emotion as we play an emotion, but sometimes the emotion plays you. And it plays you, and in life that's what happens. We feel emotions in spite of ourselves, usually emotions we don't want to feel. And we resist them and we fight against them, but sometimes the very experience of saying the words brings it gushing out of you. And Shakespeare understood that better than any playwright I've ever come across. All right, now, how are we doing on time? We've got about 40 minutes left, I think. Right. Well, that's a point I can make some other time. Now, we've got another group of you out there who were handed a different script from the bourgeois gentleman. That should be 4 of you. Would you 4 please come on up to the stage? And I will restore the protection. Okay, welcome to the stage. All right, let's see. I'm just doing some casting here in my head. All right, let's go. Who speaks first?
Lucille.
Lucille, you be Cléante, and the other 2, Nicole and what's her character's going to be? Coyvel. Yes. So now, let me just give you a quick background. Boyfriend, girlfriend, masters, servants. You're his servant. You're her servant. But you kind of have these parallel relationships, the 2 masters and the 2 servants with each other. Let me get the chair out of your way. And what has happened just before this scene, or maybe yesterday, maybe more recently. Let's say it's more recently, so it's fresh. But you 2 were out walking in the town square, and you 2 were out walking in the town square. You passed by each other, and while you 2 smiled and waved, you 2 ignored them. So these guys are pissed off. They don't know why they've been ignored. What you know, and you know, is that in your company at that time was your maiden aunt. And if she saw you talking to strange men in the street, she would lock you up and you would never see your boyfriend again. So he doesn't understand that. And so he's coming on really pissed off while you're trying to explain, okay? And what you notice is that you all have very short lines in this. Sometimes we get somebody with a line that'll go on for a couplet or 2, but mostly it's fractions of lines. So the initial challenge to all of you is to pick up your cues. Now, if you would all just kind of step down stage of that crack in the stage, and if you 2 would stand a little closer together, and if you 2 would stand a little closer together, it's going to be confusing for these guys at first, because they're not going to know who's talking when and why, and who you are addressing. So I want to, this first time through, I just want to establish who's saying what, and we can start to put the plot together at the other end, okay? So pick up your cues. That's the only advice I have for you at the moment, but we'll come back with more very soon. And you've got the first line.
Please listen.
I will not.
Allow me tell.
I'm deaf to you.
Chaos.
Oh, no.
Appeal.
No, no.
Oh, stay.
I won't.
Just wait.
I'll not.
A moment.
No.
A minute.
Ha!
I got to tell.
We're through.
One word.
It's over now. There are some things I simply can't allow.
Well, since you're so absorbed in this disease, go on. Think what you like. Do as you please.
Well, since you're in no mood to now excuse, go on then. Take it any way you choose.
All right, then let's hear why you were so rude.
Not now. I am no longer in the mood.
All right, why don't you tell the reason for...
No, I don't want to tell you anymore.
Just say.
No, I'll shut up now.
Just make it clear.
Not one word.
Please.
Oh, no.
I'd like to hear.
Good luck.
I beg you.
You leave me.
I implore.
Go on.
Lucille.
No,
My Nicole.
Not yours.
For heaven's sake.
I won't.
Speak.
Take a hike.
Just reassure me.
Nothing of the like.
Just ease my mind.
I don't believe I will.
I see. Well, since you will not ease this chill and scorn to give the least justification, or to invest in slightest of persuasion, then look your last on he you've trifled of. I go to end my life of grief and love.
And where he goes, I too will now be flowing.
Cleon!
Cavil.
Huh?
What?
Where are you going?
I told you where.
We're going to our death.
You go to die, Cleon?
To still this breath, since that's the cruel wish that you express.
Oh, you think I want you dead?
You do. Oh, yes.
Okay, awesome. Now, that was really good, but I listen for some very particular things as I do that. And the one thing I listen for the most is filling any given 20 seconds with 20 seconds worth of language. And 20 is just a convenient number for me because it represents the number of syllables in a couplet. But I would give that you started out really good, some hesitations in there, so I'd give this a 15 or a 16 on the 20-second scale right now. So what I want you to do, and I was reminded, just get a little more space now, but now that we understand what's going on in the scene, don't stand quite so close. Your objective this second time through is to never hesitate in coming in on your cue and filling the moment with nothing but language. Okay? That's your challenge, and go!
Will not.
Allow me tell.
I'm deaf to you.
Cleon!
Oh, no.
Cavil.
No, no.
Oh, stay.
I won't.
Just wait.
I'll not.
A moment?
No.
A minute.
Ha!
I've got to tell.
We're through.
One word.
It's over now. There are some things I simply can't allow.
Well, since you're so absorbed in this disease, go on. Think what you like. Do as you please.
Well, since you're in no mood to now excuse, go on then. Take it any way you choose.
All right, then let's hear why you were so rude.
Not now. I am no longer in the mood.
All right, why don't you tell the reason for...
No, I don't want to tell him.
Just say.
No. I'll shut up now.
Just make it clear.
Not one word.
Please.
Oh, no.
I'd like to hear.
Good luck.
I beg you.
Leave me.
I implore.
Go on.
Lucille,
No.
My Nicole.
Not yours.
for heaven's sake.
I won't.
Speak.
Take a hike.
Just reassure me.
Nothing of the like.
Just ease my mind.
I don't believe I will.
I see. Well, since you will not ease this chill and scorn to give the least justification, or to invest in slightest of persuasion, then look your last on he you've trifled of. I go to end my life of grief and love.
And where he goes, I too will now be flowing.
Cleon!
Cavil.
Huh?
What?
Where are you going?
I told you where.
We're going to our death.
Go to die, Cleon.
To still this breath, since that's the cruel wish that you
You
express.
think I want you dead?
Oh, you do. Oh, yes.
Hey, that was awesome. That was probably 19, and we rarely get any better than 19, so excellent work. Now, there's several stages to this, and we're maybe not even halfway done on it quite yet. But this next time through, when you have a line, do something big physically with it, okay? You can still stay in your positions, but do something exaggerated to drive home the point of what it is that you're saying. Okay? So back to the top and begin.
Cavil.
No, no.
Oh, stay.
I won't.
Just wait.
I'll not.
A moment.
No.
A minute.
Ha!
I've got to tell.
We're through.
One word.
It's over now. There are some things I simply cannot allow.
Well, since you're so absorbed in this disease, go on. Think what you like. Do as you please.
Well, since you're in no mood now to excuse, go on then. Take it any way you choose.
All right, then let's hear why you were so rude.
Not now. I am no longer in the mood.
All right, why don't you tell the reason for...
No, I don't want to tell you anymore.
Just say.
No, I'll shut up now.
Just make it clear.
Not one word.
Please.
Oh, no.
I'd like to hear.
Good luck.
I beg you.
Leave me.
I implore.
Go on.
Lucille,
No,
My Nicole.
Not yours.
for heaven's sake,
I won't.
Speak.
Take a hike.
just reassure me.
Nothing of the like.
Just ease my
I
mind.
don't believe I will.
I see. Well, since you will not ease this chill and scorn to give you the least justification or to invest in slightest of persuasion, then look your last on he you've trifled of. I go to end my life of grief and love.
And where he goes, I too will now be flowing.
Cleon,
Reveal.
Huh?
What?
where are you going?
I told you where.
We're going to our death.
You go to die, Cleon.
To still this breath, since that's the cruel wish that you express.
You think I want you dead?
You do, oh yes.
All right, that's excellent. Now, next step, and this is going to be fun because we're going to maintain social distance while we do this, which is I want you to, along with whatever outrageous gesture that you have, move somewhere on every line. You can move towards, you can move away, but leave that to the person who has the line. So that person is always making the choice of how close to get without actually getting too close in the process of this. But you also don't have to maintain this one couple is here, one couple is there routine anymore, because we now understand who's in a relationship with who, and you'll naturally be sorting that out as to who you're talking to or who you're reacting from. So this time, go somewhere, do something big on every line, but only when you have the line. Okay? And begin.
Please, listen.
I will not.
Allow me to help.
I'm deaf to you.
Cleon!
Oh no.
Reveal.
No, no,
Oh, stay.
I won't.
Wait.
I'll not.
A moment.
No.
A minute.
I've got to tell.
We're through.
One word.
It's over now. There are some things I simply cannot allow.
Well, since you're so absorbed in this disease, go on. Think what you like. Do as you please.
Well, since you're in no mood to excuse, go on then. Take it any way you choose.
All right then, let's hear why you were so
Not
rude.
now. I am no longer in the mood.
All right, why don't you tell the reason for...
No, I don't think I want to tell you anymore.
Just say.
No, I'll shut up now.
Just make it clear.
Not one word.
Please.
Oh, no.
I'd like to hear.
Good luck.
I beg you.
Leave me.
I implore.
Go on.
Lucille,
No!
My Nicole.
Not yours.
for heaven's sake,
I won't.
Speak.
Take a hike.
just reassure me.
Nothing of the like.
Just ease my mind.
I don't believe I will.
I see. Well, since you will not ease this chill and scorn to give the least justification or to invest in slightest of persuasion, then look your last on he you've trifled of. I go to end my life of grief and love.
And where he goes, I too will now be flowing.
Reveal.
Huh?
What?
Where are you going?
I told you where.
We're going to our death.
You going to die, Cleon?
To still this breath, since that's the cruel wish you express.
You think I want you dead?
You do, oh yes.
This off. It's getting a little funnier each time you do this, which is really, really great. Now, I want to do something a little different, and I need to explain the context of this for a second. But what I notice with this scene is when we build it this way, is that by the time I allow you to move around, you create really good natural blocking. You know what your intention is at any given moment, whether it's towards or away, and so once we can really mix it up, it gets funny. What's funny about this, and what's funny about why I think Molière creates language like this, which is, this is the exception rather than the rule, because this was originally in prose, and I rewrote it in verse. But the humor lies in the difference between order and chaos. You can hear that the language is very ordered. It's in rhymed iambic pentameter. And you are all participating in a group poem that you are all have. You've got X number of syllables, and he's got the other Y number of syllables that are going to complete the line. You four are made complete as a group because you're sharing this poem, even though you individually don't know that. It's we, the audience, perceive that God has come down and ordered this perfectly, even amid the chaos that each of you is individually going through. Now, so I think I want you just to remember how that works. Now come back to your original positions. And I'm going to talk for a little, it'll take me a minute to get us there, but I want to tell you about what I call the 3-second rule, which is better known as the Tim Mooney 3-second rule, trademark, which is I was directing a production of my version of The Imaginary Invalid. And everybody seemed to get a sense of the style, the presence with the audience, and the ability to we had the one who I'm always thinking of when I say that the strongest actor in the room is the one who can stand down center, talk to those people upstage without having to turn around. That was the actress who played Toinette it was the maid in that production. But there was one guy who struggled with the style. We had actors of all levels. We had a couple of equity actors, college actors, semi-professional actors, community theater level actors, and some high school students as well. But there was this one guy who had maybe been in 5 plays before, so he was really struggling with it, and he would redo his blocking every time we came back. It was something different. And I tend to choreograph things fairly carefully, and I would choreograph him so that he would be weaving in and out of the other, and his strong words, he'd be coming down here, and then when he would be saying something offhand, he would slip back this way, but he would come around with a big point, and he would come around this way, and he would talk, and I had him in a way that he was available to the audience anytime he had something strong and important to say. And he would do this. He would go up to talk to somebody over here because he remembered he was supposed to be talking to that person, and then he would drop his head so they wouldn't open to the audience there, but he would then talk to this person over here and maybe this person like this and come up over here. So it just felt he was standing out like a sore thumb because he hadn't gotten the sense of presence with the audience. So we were coming up on run-throughs where we weren't going to be able to do any more detailed work on the scene, and I knew that if I didn't catch him now to get this detail work done, that it would never get done. So I sent all the other actors out of the room, and I worked with him alone on stage. And I said, okay, I'm hereby creating the Tim Mooney 3-second rule. The Tim Mooney 3-second rule it's like the 3-second rule in basketball. Does anybody know what that is? 3-second rule in basketball? Sir? Can't be in the lane more than 3 seconds, or else what happens? The referee blows the whistle, turns the ball over to the other team. Excellent. So I created, like that rule, the 3-second rule in acting, which is that if you're carrying the dialogue, you cannot speak for more than 3 seconds without opening out to the audience at some point before resuming in whatever profile you feel the need to be into. And so I had him imagining where all those other actors were and said, now, if you, this was the Imaginary Invalid, who, the play begins with, what's his name? Argon calling for the maid. And he has a bell, and he rings the bell, and he rings the bell, and he rings the bell, and eventually, and he's shouting out, Toinette, 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 ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling. He starts shouting ding-a-ling. Anyway, so on the prop table was a bell. I went and grabbed it. And I said, okay, with this rule, if I see you not looking at the audience while speaking for more than 3 seconds, I'm going to ring the bell to remind you. And so he would go over here, and he would talk. 3 seconds go by, ting-a-ling-a-ling, oh, shit, yeah. And he would open up for a second before he'd be back over here, talk, ting-a-ling, oh, yeah. And within 20 minutes of working this exercise, he had the feel of what I expected of him. So now I set that out there as just it could have been 3 seconds. If it was a more realistic play, I might go for 5 or even 10 seconds. But I want my actors checking in with the audience, being in a position of availability to them. And I have done this at 0 seconds. So that if you have the line, you face directly out to the audience. And then you turn to your partner. And when your partner has a line, your partner turns out to the audience and delivers it directly out to the audience. So that's what we're going to do with this scene. We're going to take the 3-second rule, but we're going to make it 0 seconds. So if you're not talking, look at your partner. If you are talking, look at the audience. Does that make sense? Got the rules on that? It'll be really hard when you're trying to do it because your instinct is to look at each other, right? So I want you to fight that, look dead out at the audience, but still with all of the emotion and energy that you brought to the scene already. Okay. I don't want you to move, because we got the point of, I think, the moving exercise. Now I want to run this through one time. Just when you speak, look out there. Okay? And still with energy and emotion and power. So, and go.
Please listen.
I will not.
Allow me tell.
I'm deaf to you.
Cleont!
Oh, no.
Coville.
No.
Oh, stay.
I won't.
Stop you. Hold on a second. When you do this, also adjust your feet.
Okay.
So it's not just
Okay.
do that. Okay? And resume.
Please listen. Oh, resume from the same place. Sorry.
Start over.
Cool. Please listen.
I will not.
Allow me tell.
I'm deaf to you.
Cleont!
Oh, no.
Coville.
No.
Oh, stay.
I won't.
Just wait.
I'll not.
A moment.
No.
A minute.
Ha!
Okay, time out. You're doing really great. You're doing really great. What I want you to do, though, is when your line is done, be as crisp about snapping back into place as you were in snapping out towards the audience. Okay? And from the start, one more time.
Please listen.
I will not.
Allow me tell.
I'm deaf to you.
Cleont!
Oh, no.
Coville.
No.
Oh, stay.
I won't.
Just wait.
I'll not.
A moment.
No.
A minute.
Ha!
I've got to tell.
We're through.
One word.
It's over now. There are some things I simply can't allow.
Well, since you're so absorbed in this disease, go on. Think what you like. Do as you please.
Well, since you're in no mood to excuse, go on then. Take it any way you choose.
All right, then, let's hear why you were so rude.
Not now. I am no longer in the mood.
All right, why don't you tell the reason for...
No, I don't think I want to tell anymore.
Just say.
No, I'll shut up now.
Just make clear...
Not one word.
Please.
Oh, no.
I'd like to hear...
Good luck.
I beg you.
Leave me.
I implore...
Go on.
Lucille,
No,
My Nicole...
Not your.
for heaven's sake,
I won't.
Speak.
Take a hike.
just reassure me.
Nothing of the like.
Just ease my mind.
I don't believe I will.
I see. Well, since you will not ease this chill and scorn to give the least justification, or to invest in slightest of persuasion, then look your last on he you've trifled of. I go to end my life of grief and love.
And where he goes, I, too, will now be flowing.
Cleont!
Coville.
Huh?
What?
Where are you going?
I told you where.
We're going to our death.
You go to die, Cleont.
To still this breath, since that's the cruel wish that you express.
You think I want you dead?
You do, oh yes.
Okay, we're going to, just one more time, if you will, not mind indulging me. This is great. This is really great. And I assume you can feel the style taking over this thing. But what I want to do is the same thing that we just did, except only your head. So that when you do to the audience, you do that and you're back. You do that and you're back. Isolate just the head to the audience, and let's see what that does to this scene, okay? So I think you want to cheat a lot. Just stand in parallel, and then do it with your head, and then back, okay? All of you that way. All right. I know it's like marionettes, and it'll feel like that at this end, but it plays out here. And begin.
Please listen.
I will not.
Allow me tell.
I'm deaf to you.
Cleon.
Oh, no.
Reveal.
No.
Oh, stay.
I won't.
Just wait.
I'll not.
A moment.
No.
A minute.
Ha!
I've got to tell.
We're through.
One word.
It's over now. There are some things I simply can't allow.
Well, since you're so absorbed in this disease, go on. Think what you like. Do as you please.
Well, since you're in no mood to excuse, go on. Then take it any way you choose.
All right, then, let's hear why you were so rude.
Not now. I'm no longer in the mood.
All right, why don't you tell the reason for...
No, I don't want to tell anymore.
Just say.
No, I'll shut up now.
Just make clear.
Not one word.
Please.
Oh, no.
I'd like to hear.
Good luck.
I beg you.
Leave me.
I implore.
Go on.
Lucille.
No,
My Nicole.
Not yours.
For heaven's sake.
I won't.
Speak.
Take a hike.
Just reassure me.
Nothing of the like.
Just ease my
I
mind.
don't believe I will.
I see. Well, since you will not ease this chill and scorn to give the least justification or to invest in slightest of persuasion, then look your last on he you've trifled of. I go to end my life of grief and love.
And where he goes, I too will now be flowing.
Cleon!
Reveal.
Huh.
What?
Where are you going?
I told you where.
We're going to our death.
You go to die, Cleon.
To still this breath, since that's the cruel wish that you
You
express.
think I want you dead?
You do, oh yes.
Okay, that was awesome. Thank you, you guys. Just wanted to, what I've done here is just played with a variety of stylistic conventions that might work for this scene. And what I was trying to do with that last one is I noticed that when people were turning out, they might be sharp with their heads, but their bodies would kind of wander a little bit before they came back. And what happened with this last time through is it got really funny because you were crisp. You were like, and we got that, and we really caught. I realize it feels like I'm the puppet master here, and I'm forcing you to restrain what you're doing. But stylistically, you want definition, where the audience can see that's the character is in there, whether it's in something outrageous, or Richard III, or something big. The audience wants to be able to see something with real clarity. And when you're sharp with a choice, they really get that. And in this case, it was just easiest to do it with your heads and nothing else. And that was loads of fun. So give them a hand. Thank you very much. And I think we're down to 10 minutes maybe. And I'm trying to see if there was anything else I meant to get to here. There's another speech on one of the pages that you were given. That's that King Lear speech. I believe it's there. Is there a second speech next to Hamlet? And I just put that one there for a very particular reason, or for something I like to be able to demonstrate about Shakespeare. Excuse me. And that's King Lear's storm speech. King Lear has divided his kingdom between his two wicked daughters. And he supposedly on the assumption that they will allow him to have his way staying with them, bringing his train of knights and servants along with him wherever he goes, and he's got like 50 servants, and one of the daughters is like, I can't put up 50 servants, could we do maybe 25? And he's like, you don't love me enough, and he goes off to live with the other daughter, and she says, you know, she's got a point, 25, even that's too many. Well, how about we just take care of you and send them all away? And he's like, you don't love me either. And he goes raging off into the storm. Now, it's my theory that Shakespeare did not have sound effects the way that we tend to think of them, but that when Shakespeare needed a given sound effect, he put it into the words he gives the actors to speak aloud, so that in his very consonants and vowels, you feel the storm. So what I'd like to do is finish off with this one. If you would, where you are, all stand up and remember our 3 components of speech: rattle the lights, make ugly faces, and spit. Try to get a little distance so that you're not spitting on the back of the person in front of you. And what I want to do is just unprepared, I know, throw you into this speech and notice the sounds of the storm. Afterwards, I'm just going to ask you, what's your favorite word in terms of where you heard the storm? And we'll check in with all of you at the end of this speech. Once again, rattle the lights, make ugly faces, and spit. I'm going to turn off my microphone, so I'll be shouting from the back of the stage, and
blow winds and crack your cheeks, rage, blow, you cataracts and hurricanos, spout till you have drenched our steeples, drowned the cocks, you sulphurous and thought-executing fires, vaunt couriers to oak-cleaving thunderbolts, singe my white head, and thou, all shaking thunder, smite flat the thick rotundity of the world, crack nature's moles, all Germans spill at once that make ingrateful man. Rumble thy belly full, spit fire, spout rain, nor rain, wind, thunder, fire are my daughters. I tax not you, elements, with unkindness. I never gave you kingdom, called you children. You owe me no subscription. Then let fall your horrible pleasure. Here I stand your slave, a poor, infirm, weak, and despised old man. Yet I call you servile ministers that have with 2 pernicious daughters joined your high-engendered battles against a head so old and white as this. Oh, 'tis foul. Excellent. Now, let me check in with you. Microphone back on. Let me check in with you about what's your favorite word that sounded like the storm. Starting over here. Crack. Excellent. Rage. Good. Thunderbolts.
Like
Spout rain. Smite. Very good.
Thought-executing fire.
Thought-executing fires. Excellent. Crack. Drenched. Blow. Back here? Or here? Sorry? Cold? Okay. Oh, got it. Spite. Rage. Down here. Smite. Spit. Spit what? Spit fire. Good. My favorite is always pernicious daughters, because I can hear the rain in that. Good. So what I just want to note is that sometimes these things are literal descriptions of the lightning, thunder, rain. Sometimes they're onomatopoeic expressions of those things, and sometimes it's just the way he combines words together that remind you of the storm. So I just want to, I like laying the case out with this speech because it may incentivize you to look for those things, to look for the hidden things that Shakespeare has under all of his speeches. And I'm looking at the clock, we got like 4 minutes left.
I just want to double back to something that I meant to say earlier about Hamlet. And we got involved in that last line, to post with such dexterity two incestuous sheets. But there's more yet to go in that speech, and I just want to note that while to post with such dexterity two incestuous sheets is the climax of that speech, there's then those two lines that follow. Two lines of iambic pentameter, 20 syllables, but each of them, if I recall correctly, I'm not looking at the speech at the moment. I probably should, so I'm not saying something wrong. Yes. Okay, now I remember it. All 20 syllables are each an individual word, and 16 of those syllables end in a hard consonant. I count cannot as being two words. I know it's spelled as one on the page there. But what I note is that when Shakespeare goes down to one-syllable words, he is purposefully slowing you down as you come to each individual one-syllable word. So that, and let's do it as a group. And well, let me do it once, and then have you feel it as well. So that notice the climax and then the slowdown, and think about why that slowdown is there. What does that do emotionally? So, O most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity two incestuous sheets! It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. It's like a set of rusty brakes as you're coming up to the stop sign, and you feel it going boom, 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 boom. It grinds that speech to a halt. So let's do that all as a group, just one time to feel that. Start with to post with such dexterity, and go.
To post with such dexterity, it is not, nor it cannot come good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Excellent. So you feel that, especially depending on how ugly you're getting with this, which is to say hitting all your consonants very hard, especially those consonants at the ends of the words. It really stalls out as it goes. So, okay, we've got like 1 minute left. Is there anything that we've done in here that has you curious or has a question at the tip of your tongue that you'd like to get out before we call it a day? And while you're thinking of that, all of these exercises are in my book, Acting at the Speed of Life, Conquering Theatrical Style, available on Amazon or from my website, and as are most of the plays that I perform. Anything? Any final questions? Yes?
Did you come up with the Jerry Springer exercise, or how did you find that?
I did come up with that. I was directing. I'm trying to remember the first time I did that. I think it was I think I had it already when I was working on The Misanthrope. It was just something that struck me, and it plays in a way that I think does reinforce the style. Now, I wouldn't tell a cast to perform with all of the obvious Jerry Springer cliches, because that might lift them out of the period that they're in, but I do have them perform as if they are in a relationship with the audience, so that the audience sits a little farther forward. They pay more attention because they're now part of the show. And they pay better attention, they lean in, they listen better, they feel like something is being demanded of them, and they engage more. So that's so I wanted to go over the top with that, and I came up with the Jerry Springer exercise. So thank you for asking. Good question. Anything else? All right. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I'm back on at 2 o'clock today, this same stage, with my one-man show / keynote address, Lost at Santa's Village. I hope you'll join me for that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.